D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma. What's up, nerds, and welcome to my week in review, where I come to you every Sunday with 3 entertainment stories that I personally find interesting, and then we discuss them down below. Now, also down below, you can find the articles that I read to bring you this story, and you can read those for yourself and come up with your own opinion, or you can just watch this video where I break it all down and everything and make it simple, and then you just go about your way. Before I also get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get pushed to the back of the line. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So for my first story of this week, Disney, it looks like, is returning to 2D animation. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like Disney is the gold standard of animation, but they have forgotten how to do it. So, and they want to pay people to come in and learn to be an animator. So, basically, The Princess and the Frog was their last 2D animated movie. And they did, and then they stopped doing 2D animation. Well, then along came Mary Poppins 2. And then and during that, they had a hard time finding animators to animate the the animated section with Mary Poppins. And they had to go in and find animators. They had to get people from Europe and from Brazil, and they also had to call guys that had been retired to finish that movie. And it was very interesting. So that's all because they forgot how to do it, because they had shut it down. And it's like, why would you shut it down? I mean, 2D animation is amazing, and you don't want to lose that kind of art form. And I love 2D animation. I think that it's a lost craft slash a dying craft, and I think that this is definitely a positive in my opinion. Recently Don Bluth, who is also a 2D animator, and if you know your history, he was actually gave Disney, for a short period of time, gave Disney a run for their money as far as animation goes. His movies were doing better than Disney movies at the box office way back in the day. But he recently started a new studio for hand-drawn animation, which I think is great, and I think it will kind of pave the way forward, besides this what Disney is doing right here. Now, they will pay you to go in for a year and and train under 4 animators. This is according to Cartoon, and the position starts on February 2022. So they will, according to Cartoon Brew, the studio put out a job listing yesterday that says, but it was this week, for a traditional animation trainee to take part in their 2022 talent development program. The 12-month paid position will include training in hand-drawn character animation, effects animation, and cleanup under the mentorship of 4 highly respected Disney veterans, and that is Eric Goldberg, Mark Henn, Randy Haycock, and Rachel Bibb. I think that sounds amazing. So here is the information in the listing. Now it says, as a traditional animation trainee, the first 4 months of your program are structured to introduce you to the art of traditional animation, our studio culture, and our production environment, providing you with nurturing mentorship with Disney artists. Your first month will allow you to train across the disciplines of traditional character animation, effects animation, and cleanup. You will then be able to commit to a single discipline of interest for the remainder of your training. A 4-month review provides you with real-time feedback and determines future assignments and promotional opportunities that would bring your skills into real-life production environments. Your animation reel should demonstrate a strong understanding of acting and animation principles such as dialogue, pantomime, timing, clear staging, squash and stretch, anticipation, follow through, and secondary action. Prior training should include an anatomy and solving problems in weight, balance, movement, space, and portion. Now, I have to say that this sounds great in my opinion. I think it's great that Disney is realizing that they have a problem on their hands and they're trying to course correct. I think that 2D animation, even though it's not 100% clean, like if you go back and watch past animated movies from Disney, you can look in the background, you can see flaws in the system. But as I said before, I do think it's a craft that we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose this. And according to them, to this article, they were losing it. It was going away. It was an art form that was being dropped off the map. And I think that if that happens, it will be a loss, not only to animation, but to people that love, that kind of thing. And I think it's, like I said, I think it's a good thing that these, like Don Bluth and now Disney are seeing that this is a problem and they're trying to course correct. So that is my first story of the week. So for my second story of the week, Dark Horse Comics has been acquired by a video game publisher. THQ Nordic parent company Embracer Group has gotten that. We saw Dark Horse was up for sale. And I say me and maybe you. And I thought it would go to a movie studio, like they would buy it. And because they want the comic book characters, like Disney has Marvel, and they have all their characters, minus Spider-Man and everything, because that's Sony. And then, like Warner Brothers has the DC characters. So I thought another studio would snatch up these characters and these IPs that they have and everything, because and they do have some really great IPs. They have stuff like they have Hellboy, they've adapted Zelda, Final Fantasy, BioShock, Killjoys, Popeye, Sin City, The Mask. And then they also adapted, I don't know if they own the rights to these, but they also adapted Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those comics were really good. And they also did a little bit of Star Wars. Not a little bit, they did Star Wars. So I think that this is, I think that this is interesting. Now, I love comics, and that's why this interests me, is because I love comic books so much. They're so great. It's hard for the comic publishers, because they're constantly like losing interest with people. Like people aren't interested in comic books, and I think that the comic book market is not doing well. I mean, if you look at it, it's like it's failing, and it's like numbers. If you ever look at the numbers and everything, it's like numbers that would get you canceled back in the day. They're like, no, you've got a hit on your hands. And I think that that's a problem. And I think that a lot of people, when it comes to comic books, they like the idea of comic books, but they don't like to actually read comic books. So it says the acquisition is being made in order to boost Embracer Group's transmedia capabilities. And the games company also has plans for the creation of new video games utilizing the 300 plus intellectual properties owned or controlled by Dark Horse. And I just listed a handful of those. They have a whole bunch more. I don't know if they can do Star Wars or like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it'll be interesting to say. And this is what the CEO had to say. I can't express the excitement I feel as Dark Horse moves into this new chapter in our history, says Dark Horse CEO and founder Mike Richardson. The synergies that exist with the Embracer network of companies promises exciting new opportunities, not only for Dark Horse, but also for the creators and companies we work with. I've had a number of compelling conversations with Embracer CEO Lars Wingefors. I don't know if that's how you say his name. And I'm very impressed with him and what he and his team have built. I have to say the future of our company has never looked brighter. And of course he would say something like that. It's I do, like I said before, this is sad that comic books aren't selling enough to the point where comic book companies feel like they have to sell to outside the comic book realm. But I am surprised that a movie studio didn't buy them up. I don't know who it is that does the Hellboy movies. Is that Lionsgate? Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. Or maybe they didn't have the funds to do it, but it's just interesting that they wouldn't do that. So that is my second story of the week. So for my third and final story of the week, it looks like Michael Keaton is joining the cast of Batgirl. Now, he will be starting his role in the DCEU as Batman in The Flash alongside Ben Affleck, and that will be, I believe, in November of 2022. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think that it looks interesting, and I love Ben Affleck as Batman, but I also like Michael Keaton as Batman. Now, as I said, he began this role originally in the Batman 1989 movie, directed by Tim Burton. And I actually really love that movie also. I also love the follow-up, Batman Returns. He did not continue in Batman Forever, which I thought was okay. Batman and Robin is pure trash, but I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I think he's great. I think that, it'll be interesting to say. Now, there is a rumor that this will be a Batman Beyond kind of situation, but it will be a Batgirl Beyond kind of thing. And I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that at all. And I'll talk about that just in a little bit more. Now, this movie is starring Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. And it also stars Brendan Fraser as Firefly, the villain, and then J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. This is being directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fala. Sorry. And they directed Bad Boys for Life, aka Bad Boys 3, which I did enjoy. And if they bring that action to this movie, I'm all for it. But as I was saying, I don't know if I can say like right now that I'm definitely for bringing Michael Keaton's Batman to the Batgirl movie, but not if they're going to do a Batgirl Beyond kind of situation. If you're going to do I'm not a huge fan of Batman Beyond, but I respect it in the fact that it does have a fan base and it did do some interesting things. There's some stuff in there that I actually don't mind, but as far as a show goes, overall, I didn't really care for it. And like I said before, if they do that situation, I'm not interested. Like I said, I'm not interested. So this will be released sometime in 2022, and this is going straight to HBO Max. It won't be going to the theater. It's going to HBO Max, which a small piece of me feels like is the smart smart idea to do. And I know some people say, oh, it's the first, it's the Hispanic Batgirl, and you're putting her directly on HBO Max. But I have to be honest, most people don't know Batgirl. I mean, yeah, Batgirl from like Batman the Animated Series, or her from these newer shows and stuff like that, like Harley Quinn. She's great. But I mean, most people don't know like Batgirl. I mean, like they'll recognize the name, but they don't know the story of Batgirl. And like, and by that I mean like normies. If you're not a normie, you might know the story of Batgirl, but normies don't know. And so I think that I don't know, the Batgirl Beyond situation. I don't want, but as I was saying, like these lesser known characters or lesser, these kind of second tier characters, they can totally go to HBO Max. Like nobody, like if this was in the theaters, I don't know if I'd go and see it in the theater. That's a lie. I'd probably go see it. I see every comic book movie. But like I said, I do enjoy Michael Keaton, so I'm all for him being in this movie. I know some people are very upset about it, but whatever. Maybe his role will be very small and in the background kind of thing. So that is my final story of the week. And those are my stories of the week. Tell me, what do you guys think about this? How do you feel about Disney returning to 2D animation and the fact that they were losing this craft of 2D animation? And how do you feel about the fact that they're paying people to come in for a year, learn how to animate, in 2D animation under these people, and then try to get that kind of that 2D animation back, and so that way it's not lost, so that way they can never be found again, kind of thing. And then how do you feel about Dark Horse Comics being acquired by the video game publisher Embracer, which is THQ Nordic their parent company. How do you feel about that? Is this a bummer for you? Because it's like kind of like the death of the comic book world, in my opinion. I'm like, where's it going to go from here? You just get these big studios making these decisions that necessarily aren't good for comic books. They're just good for them. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I go, that's a bummer for me. And then how do you guys feel about Michael Keaton joining Batgirl and that cast and everything? I think it's a plus. I mean, in all honesty, let's be honest, this movie didn't sound like overwhelmingly amazing before they added Michael Keaton. I mean, yeah, sure, Brendan Fraser and J.K. Simmons are great. I mean, Leslie Gray, she was okay in The Heights, but I mean, like, I don't know. I'd give her a shot. Even though I do not think on the short list she was the best for the job, but I do think adding Michael Keaton is a good idea. I personally think so. I think that yeah. All right, guys, go ahead and tell me what you think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys next week where this is my last week in review for the year, but I will see you next week for my annual year in review. And yeah, you guys have a good week. Bye. Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that Geek What icon and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and join me every Sunday with my Week in Review.